I'm annoyed by all the different calls that I get, scam calls and things along those lines. Unfortunately, it's not going to address those directly because those are already illegal. This bill does not take aim directly at them. What it does is it takes aim directly at us, all of the businesses that are doing things the right way. It's significantly cheaper to have people overseas making these calls for us. And so if your price per call, your CPA, if that doubles, are you going to be able to make the model work? Like TCPA, every one of those calls can have a cascading effect and can affect you in huge ways financially. If you're not planning ahead, you're going to get left behind. Hey guys, Curt Graham here from Elite Insurance Partners. I'm the VP of Brokerage and wanted to come out with another little video discussing what could be a huge impact for us, our business, the carriers, everybody involved in the Medicare insurance world in the coming years if this bill does actually come to fruition. It is the Keep Call Centers in America Act of 2025. I think you probably are thinking what I'm thinking. It's about time. I'm annoyed by all the different, calls that I get, scam calls and things along those lines. Unfortunately, it's not going to address those directly because those are already illegal. Those are already a problem. They're already, getting prosecuted and things like that. But this bill does not take aim directly at them. What it does is it takes aim directly at us, all of the businesses that are doing things the right way. And so the new bill is here to protect call center jobs and consumers from AI, according to ABC. Let's dig a little bit deeper. Why is this such a popular proposition? In my opinion, 70% of Americans find the interacting with automated systems versus a human frustrating. I agree. I do too. Is AI going to make that better? I believe it is. And I think it's going to be for the better, and that number is going to continue to go down. I actually don't know who the 30% are that aren't frustrated by automated call centers, because I know just about every time I call, I'm always punching 0 or punching 1 or something, trying to get through it. Maybe saying a cuss word, hoping that they detect that and jump me to the front of the line. A little bit more about this bill. It is bipartisan, okay? Pretty rare in this day and age, but it was introduced by Senator Ruben Gallego of Arizona, Democrat, and Jim Justice, Republican of West Virginia. First, we're going to talk a little bit about what Ruben is saying about this bill. There's approximately 3 million customer service representatives across the country, according to BLS. In recent years, many of these call centers operations have shifted overseas, and BLS projects that's a loss of 150,000 U.S. jobs. I actually think that's on the low side. I think a lot more call centers are calling in the United States, and not just the scam ones. I've got family in Colombia. They've got a gigantic $400 million call center that they built down there. It's got basically a mall inside. So it's huge in South America. It's huge over in the Middle East. It's huge in the Philippines. It's huge all over the place. I think 150,000 jobs is on the low side. But that's according to BLS. Again, we hear 70% find it frustrating. That's, something that everybody seems to be hitting on. Seems like a number that's real. What is Senator Justice talking about? Well, this bill puts workers first, ensures that people can talk to a real person who understands them when they need help. If you're calling customer service, chances are your day isn't going good. I agree. So they're taking aim at AI here. How are they taking aim at both AI and the overseas call center operations? And what is this going to do? Well, I'm going to jump on back here. If you are an organization that runs a call center and you decide to move your call center operation overseas, you've got to notify the Department of Labor at least 120 days before the move. Okay. I haven't seen anything where they talk about people with existing offshore call centers, But if you've got one and you decide to move after this bill's been enacted, you've got to notify them. What are they going to do? Well, they're going to put you on a list for 5 years. And if you try and get off that list, it's going to be a problem for you because it's going to limit your ability to access federal grants, federal funds, loans, things along those lines. Now, I know a lot of us in the insurance business aren't directly taking those, but we need to think a couple orders of magnitude down the line. And who is it affecting? It's affecting the actual carriers, okay? And those carriers are going to pass this down to us like they do with everything else, okay? Ultimately, we are representatives of them. And so this is going to affect us directly or indirectly in a couple different ways. Now, what is it going to do? It's going to protect consumers by mandating that you immediately disclose the physical location to call center or of the caller and disclose if AI is being used. Also, customers will be able to request to be transferred to a US-based call center if desired under the proposed piece of legislation. So what does that mean? If I've got a call center offshore and I don't have one onshore, well, I better have one onshore now, or I better have agents that are ready to pick up those phone calls when needed. So this is going to drive down the cost savings that people see by driving those call centers offshore. A little bit about what the cost savings is from Call&IO. They're talking about in the Medicare call center ecosystem, cost efficiency. They're talking about a 25% or 15 to 25% reduction. Again, I think these numbers are severely underestimated. I've dealt with offshore call centers. I know most of you have as well if you've been in this business for any period of time. It's significantly cheaper than hiring somebody onshore. You can set up and you can shut down very quickly. I don't think it's 15 to 25%. I think it's significantly lower, which is why you see so many people doing it, and not just agents and agencies that do it, but also, like I said, all of the carriers. Okay. All the carriers, not naming any names. I know specifically several that do have offshore call centers, and you wouldn't know it. They hire well, they do a good job. But in the event that they now have to notify, like we said, they've got to notify the physical locations of callers. And if AI is being used, our clients, they like to talk to Americans. They don't want to deal with accents in a lot of cases, just kind of the way our client base is. It's going to cut down on that savings, and it's going to drive jobs back on shore in a lot of ways if this does pass. Now, the other thing we want to look at is how it affects us directly. And although the bill does not directly amend TCPA, it's going to have impacts. Let's be honest. Okay. This article was written by the Trotman Amin LLP, Eric Trotman, huge in the TCPA world. Also, if you're doing calls, doing any outbound stuff, you've probably heard of Eric Trotman. Really knows what he's talking about on this side of things. And so as I scanned a couple of these articles, this stood out to me. I immediately thought of the TCPA impacts that could end up getting passed down. And if you're not familiar with how expensive TCPA issues can be for you, you better look it up. Okay. You're talking about every text message, every call that you didn't have consent. Well, what does this mean in this case? What if your agent isn't disclosing their location right away? The AI better be doing it. It just needs to be written into your script. But if you get lazy or somebody's transferring a call to you and ultimately that call isn't compliant, like TCPA, every one of those calls can have a cascading effect and can affect you in huge ways financially. Last year, there was a $400 million lawsuit that got settled in this situation for TCPA. If they end up passing this bill about offshore, it's going to absolutely result in similar lawsuits. Ultimately, it's something that you need to be prepared for. I know here at EIP, we are working to implement AI in just about every facet of our business, from lead scoring to call management to also call grading on our agents. Ultimately, it will be on the customer support side where we've got people calling in and hopefully being able to handle a lot of the basic things. I can imagine as everything improves, as our systems improve, we'd be handling more and more we're going to have to make sure those disclosures are there. We're going to have the ability to have them transfer into live agents immediately, all of that stuff. If you are somebody that's in the business now and you heavily rely on offshore call centers, like I know a lot of people do, let's not pretend. There's a lot of groups out there where we're looking at target CPAs of $200 or $180 on those transfers, or quote unquote click to calls that a lot of people have. If you're going to have to bring that business back on shore, you're going to have to be doing everything in the United States. I can only imagine, like I said, I don't think it's a 15 to 25% savings. It's significantly cheaper to have people overseas making these calls for us. And so if your, price per call, your CPA, if that doubles, are you going to be able to make the model work? If you're not planning ahead, then you're going to get left behind. You definitely need to be planning ahead in this regard. I think it's extremely important. If you haven't looked this law up, I'm going to link to both of the senators' bills in the notes in this video for you to click on that, look at it, take a Google search, talk to your favorite AI, your Groks, your open AIs of the world, find out what they're saying about it, and see what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you have any questions, I've got plenty of thoughts on it. I'd love to hear from you as well. Hit me up. Thanks.